Hey, what's going on, everyone? Justin here again for, I guess I'd like to call this Motivational Friday. Just kind of give people a little kick in the butt, and also go on a little bit of a rant. So I think we're right now in the holiday seasons. We're really starting to kick it off. Where tomorrow is going to be Halloween, November is going to hit. More and more people are going to be thinking about gifts and presents that they want to buy their loved ones. And I do a lot of searching online for different products and different things that I can add to our arsenal of products that we want to sell potentially at one point or another. And I go to a lot of the forums, and also I do a lot of obviously Amazon selling. I'm part of a lot of different groups. And I just want to kind of throw something out there that's kind of been frustrating me lately, which is the fact that there are so many, or not so many, but there are a number of people out there that get a product and it just takes off. It takes off, and in the first 30 days, they get to a point where they're selling 20 to 30 a day. And then they get to selling 50 a day, and then 60 a day in a very short period of time. And so it really throws things off for a lot of people, because a lot of folks end up thinking that they can just take a product, put it online, and everything is going to work out as the way it should. And that's just not the case. There are so many factors that you have to take in consideration. And here are some of the biggest factors that you really need to think about in terms of your Amazon business, and the reason why this is truly a long-term play and not just a short-term play, where in a very short period of time you can be selling 60 units a day, which is either luck or a number of things. But I'm going to throw a couple of ideas out there. The first thing is that there are a number of folks that get into this business who actually do have some money. They actually go out and they put together, let's say, $4,000, $5,000 towards units, and they end up getting about 700 to 800, 900 units potentially. And they've also picked the right market. So what they end up doing is they take a lot of that product, let's say 200, 300 units, and they give all of that away. And I can't stress to you guys how important it is to where when you give that amount of product away early on, you're going to see some results. That I will tell you. Something's going to happen where you're going to start ranking, and particularly if your description is good, your copywriting is good, all these elements, including your pictures and you're in the right market, all those things are kind of working out the way they should. You're going to end up doing well. I've seen it even in categories that I've been playing in for some time, where folks just said, you know what, I want to go ahead and invest this $5,000. I'm going to put this listing up. I'm going to give away 300 units, and I'm going to rank for that primary keyword. And you know what? They get to the first page, and they get to the top of the first page, and they start selling 20, 30 a day. Now, there are other people that's on the other end of the spectrum that just did an amazing job with their research, and they just took the time to figure out what's the area that they want to focus on, and they start selling in that area. There are other cases where, like I said before, people that have cash, they may not buy a lot of units, but they decide to get into a bigger category where they're selling items that will cost a consumer $40, $50 per unit. And so those are areas where there's not as much competition, but they can still play in that space and do relatively well. And so I just want to tell everybody that's out there, this is a long-term play. There's no sort of magic sauce, quote unquote, where you can just get a product up and running and it's going to just be successful on day one. That can happen. And I feel like one of the ways that can happen is if you do amazing research and you pick the right market. Number two, if you have the cash to invest and you're ready to give away quite a bit of inventory. If you do some of those things, I think you can get to a point where you're selling 30, 40 a day within 30 days. But it's not the norm, though. And I really want to stress that. Don't worry about if you're not that person who's selling 30, 40 a day within 60 days even. I mean, heck, I have over 10 products, and I don't do 20 a day on all of the products. A couple, but not all of them. So, I just want to throw that out there. There really is this bell curve. This bell curve where on one end of the spectrum are people that just don't make it. Everyone that's in sort of this 45% bracket, are those that kind of make it, but they're not doing as well as they'd like. You have the other 45% of folks that are doing well, they're thriving and they're growing, and it's kind of a steady pace. And then you have the folks that's on the 50% line that, or not 50%, but the 5% that just knock it out of the ballpark on day one. That 5% has a lot to do with market research, inventory giveaway, and cash flow. Those three things. Because as anything in this world, the more cash that you have, the more flexibility you have to do whatever you want, particularly if you get the market research right and all those other elements that we sort of talked about, proper listing, copywriting, you've picked the right keywords to rank for, and so forth. So this is for Motivation Friday. I want to tell you guys, don't worry so much if you don't hit out the park on day one. But as we all know, if you have some of those other elements, cash, if you do the product giveaway, if you've done the market research right, yeah, you're going to get to page one pretty soon. I didn't have the cash flow. I didn't have money like that. So, I didn't have 10 grand to just kind of throw out there and see what happened. For me, I've sort of taken the long-term play with this because I have other things that I got to focus on. But if you're ready to do it and you have the cash, go right ahead and make the large investment and see what happens. But for those where you don't have the cash, don't worry about it. Take your time to pick those right markets, build up your listing, build up, work on the conversions, and then continue to reinvest and get to the point where as November hits and December hits, hopefully you're at a place where you have enough inventory, you're getting enough sales, and you can do relatively well this holiday season. So just want to give you guys a little kick in the butt, a little motivation for Friday, I guess, for upcoming holiday season and all this good Amazon sales that's probably going to end up happening once November and December hits. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care.